Hello, everyone, and welcome to our review of the British Grand Prix, the best Grand Prix there is out there, and yet again, it has not failed to deliver, except at the end, where it did fail to deliver. I'm Ajax, and I am joined by the one, the only, the mighty Sorgon. Hi.
Hello, I admire the amount of air you needed to exhale for that.
Oh, I could have done that for ages.
But I believe that. Hello, everyone. British Grand Prix, right? And we got one Brit on the podcast and one not Brit, but a very British biased one. So,
Yeah, you.
we'll cover this Grand Prix pretty well. A lot of things that happened, and we also had a sprint, so there's a lot of things to talk about, right? Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's jump in. The British Grand Prix this year. Do we talk about? The practice? I mean, it was a practice.
Nothing really much happened there, I believe, other than Piastri spinning and the drivers using hot tires, and then softs a little bit. Essentially, every driver used their hard tires in the practice one, and then they only had one tire for the race. That's one thing I remember from that.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, a bit chaotic. But yeah, and then we went straight into the sprint, or sprint quali, which well, I guess it was an interesting sprint quali this time around. The British Grand Prix I think this is its second sprint, but it might be its third. I can't remember.
Third, I believe. Well, there was one in 21, and there was one in
Which how's that?
2024, I think, or maybe 23. Wait, I actually.
But anyway,
that was at least one.
I think this was actually arguably the best session of the whole thing. Was the sprint quali.
For several reasons, probably might have been.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get to it. But yeah, the sprint quali was, of course, won by Lewis Hamilton, but it was literally by the tiniest margin to Kimi Antonelli. These two really just were a mile ahead of the rest of the field. I think Max was like 3/10 down on them. But yeah, it was a really exciting sprint quali, where you just didn't know what was happening.
Indeed. We didn't know who was going to be on pole up until the very last lap, and it was a very surprise one. I mean, not like that you would not believe that. It's just that you would expect the Mercedes, right, on pole position.
Yeah. Especially Kimi again looked just fabulous this weekend. We're going to talk about him a lot, I imagine. But yeah, I just think him and Hamilton were really pushing each other for those that first day. I think they were the top of the practice as well. So yeah, they were fully ready for this sprint qualifying, and things did change around a bit to come the second day, but yeah, really entertaining sprint qualifying, which is something that you weren't expecting in the end.
Yeah, we have Lewis on pole with Kimi right behind him. Max Verstappen P3. Yeah, I qualified a Mercedes and a Ferrari. That was an achievement for him, for sure. Then, obviously, we had Clarence, Jar, and so on. Basically, only the top 8 really matters in the sprint quali, as the top 8 only gets points on Saturday. I mean, yeah, those midfield cars like Racing Bulls and so on, like they don't really gain much from being up there, unless a car DNFs for the top 8. Yeah, so it's about it. I mean,
and
yes.
Well, it all like structured itself to be the sprint that we got, which was one of the most chaotic sprints in all history.
Yeah,
It has to go down.
it was chaotic, like you said. We had battles pretty much up until the very last lap. Uh, yeah, I mean, British Grand Prix, specifically Silverstone. I've not been very high on this track personally because I didn't really
Have you not?
enjoy driving it on the F1 games historically, and before 2021, I didn't really enjoy the British Grand Prix as itself because the track didn't really support DRS overtakes that much. But then the 21 came. Obviously, we had the Max Lewis fight and the entire sent to the barriers thing and so on. Then 2022 onwards, we've been treated to exceptional race after exceptional race, just amazing every year. And I'm really looking forward to British Grand Prix now that really changed this stance over the years. I really enjoy the British Grand Prix now. Yeah, this track is just very great for Formula One.
Yeah. Yeah, it's brilliant. I think the last few years it has been. I mean, last year's race was probably the most entertaining. Um, I think back to 2021 where I was on track there. You have the Through Goes Hamilton, which is one of the most iconic clips of F1 history. Um, I love it, and I obviously have incredible bias to it because it's the Grand Prix that I go to, and so on and so forth. But yeah,
Yeah.
I just think it's a sensational Grand Prix, and I was a bit worried this year about, and I think we'll talk about this a bit with the sprint quali.
Yeah.
I was worried about the whole power saving and so on, and I think that came into bigger effect during the sprint quali. But yeah, it was a lot of fun this sprint qualifying, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was a lot of fun, and we didn't get the thing that everyone was just afraid of. That we would just run out of battery like midway through this race because there were just not many braking points, right? But it wasn't
Yeah.
that. It wasn't the case really. I mean, we had instances where the drivers ran out of battery during the lap, but that was mostly because they tried to, especially in the races, they tried to use the boost button like at the start of the lap to overtake, and then they were just sitting back on the back straight. I don't really remember the names of the of the streets and corners. Sorry, but yeah, basically those overtaking spot, and they just got a real overtaking, and it was just kind of a yo-yo racing back again after we've been missing it for a couple of races.
Yeah, it was mental that start. I mean, that we probably didn't see that many changes in the entire season last year compared to this year, but they were up, back, round, up and down. It was crazy. I mean, Lewis and Kimmy sort of ran away with it, but the rest of the field. I mean, you had George Russell pull off his crazy double overtake on the McLarens, only to then go straight backwards afterwards. You had Max Verstappen literally battling the entire time against everyone and anyone. Yeah, it was great. It was just brilliant. It was a brilliant watch. And then of course you have Kimi Antonelli overtaking Hamilton, um, which took a few laps to happen, but he eventually got there. He had a good start, but Hamilton defended against him well, and yeah, one of our oldest and our youngest personals on the grid going just pure at it. Well, they're both second oldest and second youngest now, aren't they?
Yeah, true. Yeah. It was nice. This generational battle. I mean, Lewis is more than half. Sorry, more than twice the Antonelli's age. It's kind of crazy to say. Like Lewis was already a world champion the time
He could be his dad.
Kimi was born. Yeah, like these age gaps are ridiculous, and they're gonna get even more ridiculous if drivers like Lewis and Fernando are gonna stay in Formula One. Um, Yeah, but I mean, Lewis is still like he's 41 years old and driving still exceptionally well. He's been
When will we see we see all these battles. When are we going to see Arvid Lindblad versus Alonso? That's the battle I need to see.
I think we're gonna have to wait a little bit for that because they're not really in comparable machinery at the moment. Like the gap between Racing Bulls and Aston Martin is like twice as big as between the Racing Bulls and Mercedes. Like this is just completely like almost like an F2 level for Aston. Who hope to bring like a huge upgrade to Hungary, by the way, like 2.5 seconds gain or something ridiculous like that, which would put them one place ahead of Cadillac. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Aston Martin is completely in the mud this season. I sometimes forget they exist, but then I see the onboards and I just continue to laugh at them because it's just ridiculous. Like they have to turn the wheel like in Monaco to turn on in Beckett. Like it's just ridiculous.
It was insane. But yeah, we had, it was just absolutely nuts sprint race. But yeah, a lot of fun, and everyone finished it, which isn't that surprising with a sprint race, but all the same. But yeah, Lance Stroll's watching Lance Stroll was very funny. What's even more funny, if we go to qualifying though, is despite the fact Lance Stroll had to do that for the entire sprint, he still out qualified Fernando Alonso for his second time in 2 races. On 3 races, I should say.
3 races. So that's Stroll is really in the form right now, compared to Alonso at least. But yeah, the car is just it almost looks like completely random to track. Like whatever you do, you just won't expect what happens next. Just I cannot imagine what it feels to drive that car. If I was an F1 driver, I'd probably just keep the money for yourself. I'm gonna drive this shit. This is like that level of crap. Obviously, if I was an established F1 driver, right, not a rookie. Like if I was a rookie, I would take the Aston Martin any day of the week. But you know what I mean? Like it just looks painful to drive, and especially at the start of the season, like there were some health concerns due to the vibrations. I don't know whether those were fixed, but just I really feel sorry for the Aston drivers who have to drive the car. It's just other garbage.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. We also lost in that session a few surprise drivers, Colapinto and Ocon, just way off the pace compared to their teammates.
Are we talking about qualifying now?
Yes, sorry, yes. Unless you had something to...
Yeah, we kind of ignored our sprint predictions.
Oh yeah, I forgot there's that.
Yeah.
I just like having a good old-fashioned talk, my bro.
Okay. Pole position, Lewis Hamilton win, Kimi Antonelli. So I had those, but reversed. Very unfortunate. Sprint star, Lewis Hamilton. I mean, do you consider it a star from P1 to P2? No,
right? I consider him a disappointment.
Okay.
Give me my points.
Not the blunder of the weekend, though. That's for sure.
Give me my points.
Nah, you gotta get that. Okay, sprint of the weekend. Who sprint star of the weekend? Who are you giving this to?
I'm gonna. Oh, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Oh la la! I'm gonna give it to. This is a difficult one. Because everyone really stayed around their position, didn't they? You know what? Lando Norris went from P6 to P3. Let's give him a shout out there. That's some good racing.
Yeah, and then McLaren, which was the 4th quickest car this weekend. So P3 in the 4th quickest car is a good achievement, and especially in the sprint, where we saw all the drivers battling each other for quite a while. I think Lando was also my pick for this. Sprint disappointment.
My sprint disappointment is going to go to. Oh, I think. But he only really lost one position. I kind of want to give it to Hajar.
Yeah, Hajar. I mean, the bad start from P8. He was very close to Max in qualifying, sprint qualifying, but
Although we could argue
the start was bad on both Red Bulls. That has to be mentioned.
Yeah, well, it always is with these cars. They've been terrible. We could argue Max went from if Lando went from P6 to P3, Max did the opposite. He went from P3 to P6.
That is true.
There just isn't a disappointment. This is the issue.
Yeah, it's like he couldn't do anything. His car just couldn't accelerate at the start.
Yeah, but then Hajar's the same, isn't it?
Yeah, should we give this purely based on pace compared to their teammate? Because that would be George Russell then. But also George.
Yes, actually.
I mean, George had issues in up until the last Q3 run, pretty much. So the the same driver in the same situations, but in the opposite teams. Leclerc in the Ferrari, perhaps you could argue his teammate finished P2, got a sprint pole, and Leclerc was battling McLaren. So, right.
Yeah, fair enough.
Leclerc for me is the disappointment from the sprint.
Okay, I'm happy to go Leclerc.
Okay.
Especially considering what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. Qualifying. So you're mentioning Ocon and Behrman, Ocon and someone else being out of the pace, right?
Yeah. Qualifying, Ocon and Colapinto were surprised two people out very early.
I mean, Haas is kind of that range of Williams right now, the third worst car in the grid, I would say. But Colapinto definitely was a surprise because the Alpine is fairly quick. Guys have been getting consistent points this season, and Colapinto as well had some good runs recently. So disappointing qualifying. I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember much from qualifying.
Well, let me remind you that Williams managed to get through due to that Colapinto and Ocon issues. But it was actually in Q2 where we saw the most excitement because am I getting this right? I think was Max Verstappen almost out. Or am I thinking of Austria? I feel like I'm thinking of Austria.
He might have been close as well. I also don't remember specifically if it was here.
Well, in Q2, Alex Albon was 16th, Sainz 17th, Ollie Behrman was 14th. Then we had Nico Hulkenberg in 13th, Pierre Gasly in 12th, and Bortoleto being in the place that the Audis always come in qualifying, 11th.
I think Bortoleto was close to P10, right? So Max may have been the driver in P10.
Yeah, something like that. But I can't really remember. Well, I suppose something I want to bring up is just how the Racing Bulls just seem to be so much more sat in the position they are nowadays, aren't they?
Yeah.
They are clearly the fifth best team at the moment.
So Max wasn't in P10 in Q2.
I was definitely thinking of Austria Q2, I think.
Yeah, Max was, I believe, P4 behind Hajar. So, actually, no, never mind. P6. Hajar was P5. Yeah. It can continue. Sorry.
It's all right. I thought I was wrong. But yeah, the Racing Bulls have been really promising recently. I think the big thing is they have two drivers that are very good. And to be honest, that is the case for all the teams really at the moment. there's some drivers that are clearly a bit slower, but I think every driver is very much in F1 for a reason. But the Racing Bulls are extremely likable. The two drivers, they're doing really well. They're constantly getting this sort of fifth place quickest team, and here yet again they are ninth and 10th.
Yep. Racing Bulls are, yeah, comfortably the fifth quickest team right now, based on recent performance, like from the past 3 weekends. Yeah, but they're doing what they're meant to do. They're maximize their weekends, and that's always behind the top 18s because those have just too big of a pace advantage. And now it seems like Racing Bulls have a pace advantage over everyone behind them.
Yeah.
Maybe not that significant one, but big enough for both drivers to comfortably sit between the top 8 and the rest of the field.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's been a bit chaotic as of late, but I think they're doing really well. Next up, though, in 8th place was Oscar Piastri. Not a good weekend for him at all. He really.
Yeah,
I just feel
he was there. That's about it.
He was there, exactly. And yeah, it's been again. I feel like he did pretty solidly in Austria, but between this and Spain, there's just been a few of these bits where Oscar Piastri he seems that maybe he's unhappy in the McLaren. Maybe the rumours of a potential Red Bull move are sitting heavily on his mind. But yeah, he's struggling. And yeah, it's not nice to see, especially after such an incredible year last year, which obviously took a turn for the worse. But yeah, especially after after Japan, I really thought he was gonna turn a leaf again, but it's just not been a great season. Sorry, I realise now you are a big Oscar Piastri fan. It does seem like I'm doing this on purpose.
No,
I was just to be clear.
You're actually correct, and pretty much I would say the same. I mean, Oscar has been very disappointing since Japan. He's been close to Lando in qualifying, but mostly just finishing like a 10th or a half a 10th behind in qualifying is not enough, because in the races Lando clearly has a race pace advantage, and that's the most concerning thing for me, because last year they're very much comparable in the race pace as well as qualifying train. This year in qualifying they remained exactly the same. They're like less than a half a 10th away from each other on average. It's just the most ridiculously close qualifying pairing out there. But in the race, Lando has had the upper hand, quite convincing upper hand, apart from a few cases like in Japan and Austria where Oscar has been the quicker driver. And that's the most concerning thing for me as a Piastri fan, that his race pace has seemingly gone away for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The most surprising thing about this qualifying session, I would say, though, beyond everything else, is that Isaac Hadjar outqualified Max Verstappen.
Yeah, surprising as in the fact that Hadjar has qualified Verstappen. Not that surprising considering this weekend and how it went, because Hadjar showed some great speed throughout the weekend, often finishing ahead of Max in timesheets. He didn't really manage the sprint quali well, but qualifying was executed pretty well, and he out-qualified Max Verstappen. That's a very good achievement, and on pure pace, has to be said. That hasn't happened in quite a while for a Red Bull teammate, apart from Japan where he did it the same. But this is something we haven't seen in years, that the Red Bull teammate of Max is out-qualifying him on pure pace. Like, the last time we saw that was probably Checo in Baku 24, right? It's been like 1.5 years. So yeah, and before that, like Perez has out qualifying like twice or price season in 2024. It's like pretty one-sided. Yeah, Hajar has shown some great speed, and even when Max out qualifies Hajar is still like very close behind, and only suffering from the fact that the top 8 is so close that whenever Max out qualifies Hajar by like a tenth or 10.5, there's suddenly like 2 McLarens between them, and perhaps sometimes a Ferrari, like we saw in spring quali. So yeah, as you said, like Red Bull are now having 2 very good qualifiers. Race pace is a different question because Hajar has been lacking compared to Max. And lacking is maybe a generous word because that gap has been the biggest between teammates in terms of race pace, statistically among the grid. Hajar has been really struggling in race pace, but qualifying is very promising.
Yeah, definitely, and I think he's shown himself to be a truly worthy second driver. I don't know if the car is still built around Max as the rumors are and so on.
I don't think that's true.
I mean, sorry, I was going on to a wider point. Yeah, that's true. I was going on to a wider point of, there's been a lot of rumors if Max leaves and so on, how Red Bull are going to find it. I don't think they're going to find themselves in too much of an issue. I think Isaac plus one of the other top drivers, that's going to be a lovely team. If it was Piastri, I think those two are a phenomenal team together and a team that can last you the next 10 years, right?
Yeah, I mean, Piastri is definitely a downgrade for Max, but it's not like...
Yeah, I know, but...
Like, it's...
But...
Yeah.
You can build around them, right? It's not. You're not gonna. I thought last season, when there was rumors of Max leaving, and I was like, it was Yuki Tsunoda in that car, and Isaac, and it was a rookie. I was like, if Max leaves, Red Bull are screwed for generations, right? I just don't feel that anymore. I feel like Isaac's done a really good job to sort of. And yeah, he's still, they still have bad starts and so on. I feel that's something to do with the car more than the 2 drivers in it. But I think they have potential out there. Should we go through the top 5 then? Isaac Hajar, we mentioned in 5th place.
Yes, Isaac Hajar in 5th place. 4th place was Russell. Another week qualifying. We'll look into that later. In terms of Russell's weekend,
yes, definitely.
P3 Lewis Hamilton, P2
yep
Leclerc, and P1 Antonelli. So we get 0 points for qualifying, as well as sprint. Yes. So 0 points so far from both of us.
Yeah, terrible weekend thus far for us. But let's go on to the race. What a race it was! I would say it's not been the best Grand Prix of the season, by no means barred. It maybe had the potential to with the last 2 laps, but we didn't see it. But shall we get into that start? I guess is the big talking point, because whilst Leclerc might have started in P2, he was not ready.
Yep. That start was just as weird because it looked like Antonelli had the better start. But then the Ferrari just kicked in and somehow just overtook him. I think Antonelli had some wheel spin. Generally, Mercedes and Antonelli have been struggling with race starts compared to Ferrari, and both Ferraris got through Antonelli. At that point, it was looking interesting, but based on the sprint pace, right? I think most people expected Antonelli to take like 15 laps to get through both Ferraris, right? But it didn't happen. It was
his initial start wasn't too bad, but it was just he got bogged down in that second phase and was sort of the Ferraris have proved themselves to be so quick on the starts this year. It's definitely got worse, but it's not got worse. It's just that everyone else has got better. It was less of a chaotic start afterwards, though. Everyone sort of settled into their positions for a while.
Yeah. yeah, nothing like the sprint really. Like it's fairly chill at the start. We obviously had Antonelli braving down Lewis Hamilton's neck like for like 15 laps until the overtake. Has to be said, Lewis has tried to fight the Mercedes. That's a superior machinery, and Lewis did well trying to defend, but his aerodynamics weren't the greatest in terms of setup for the race, and he generally was feeling slower than Leclerc because of the race pace. So he tried his best, but then Antonelli had clean air. He had Leclerc ahead of him by 4 seconds, and yeah, I was like fully expecting that gap to come down like within 5 laps. But yeah, it wasn't the case. Leclerc was actually maintaining the gap to Antonelli up until the pit stops, and then Antonelli pitted later on and was on pace to catch Leclerc because Leclerc pitted early, and Antonelli has put some insane pains on Plier, and somehow Leclerc has gained like zero time with the undercut. Antonelli pitted, came out with fresh tires and not that big of a gap to Leclerc. They're looking for a very nice scrap for the win, potentially, with Antonelli being the favorite to win at that point. But yeah, something we've already seen this year happen, and it was another mechanical problem for the Mercedes. And Antonelli, with another huge amount of bad luck, went over a curve and kind of broke something in the suspension and front wing. Yeah, very unfortunate for Antonelli. He tried to save it as best he could. He put it a couple of times, and yeah, unfortunately, just couldn't get the car going really in a like a quick manner. I mean, he tried his best. He was quicker than Colapinto, but that's a very low bar, and he went off a couple of times as well.
He did. He was. This was the first time I will say I've seen Antonelli sort of crack under it. Right, I think thus far, in Spain he seemed so confident afterwards. Still, there was just this sort of air around him, and I was like, maybe he is just the world champion. Even though he lost all those points, he'd overtaken Russell, and he just didn't seem that bothered about the fact that he'd retired. He obviously did. He obviously was bothered, but there was this air of confidence. This is the first time there was this genuine panic from him. He wanted desperately to keep racing. He wanted to push to try and get as many points, and that again is another sign of a champion, right? But this was the first time this season I've sort of seen Antonelli not be just this air of confidence. He seems so talented. He seems so incredible in that car that it was a bit of a shock, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it was something that we haven't seen this season for sure. His voice was really cracking. He was trying his absolute best to keep it on track and actually score some points, but while doing so, he went off a couple of times and gained a very questionable time penalty. I mean, he didn't gain time from going off track, but he still broke track limits, and every driver, like we saw Lance Stroll get like 21 track limits violations this on this race because he couldn't keep the car on track. And then Anthony had a similar problem, maybe to a less extent, but still get a time penalty, and it ended up screwing him over the most because what happened afterwards with another rear wing failure from Max Verstappen.
Max Verstappen, yeah, he had some race, he pretty boring. Well, he did well in the start, especially considering the Red Bull, and then just found himself in a fight against Russell and Hamilton, which I'm sure he didn't expect to find this weekend. But yeah, it was kind of mental, and he was doing so well. Obviously, the safety car was helping him. He was hunting down Hamilton after that because he had new tires, and then just hunted him down a little too much, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, it's just so ironic that the place Max DNF. Like he went off in front of the entire Lando stand. uh,
It was sort of like some sort of cinema.
yeah, like imagine all those fans, all those Lando fans who experienced the last few seasons, and imagine like being that Lando fan on the stand and seeing Max DNF like that. That brings out some emotions. I think mostly positive. Like I know what it's like to be a fan, right, of the sports, and I'm like as a human being, I don't wish any driver bad, but if a rival of your driver DNFs in that way in front of you, like just a couple
Yeah.
of tens of meters, probably was quite the experience for the grandstand. Um, yeah, very unlucky for Max. Another failure of the exact same issue as in Austria. Uh, yeah, that's just the Red Bull is a mess this season. I mean, they've been quick at points, but overall, it's probably their weakest season since like 2018. It has to be said, right? Like, it's been a while we've seen Red Bull this incomplete and like, not not operationally perfect like seeing them for so long. Yeah, I don't know whether they'll fix the issue quickly, but twice the same issue with big consequences in both races. Like in Austria, he was a potential win, like in qualifying, and
It feels like, and it's only recently become a problem, but it feels like they were so desperate to um, copy that Ferrari's Macarena wing that they didn't really think of everything, right? Because the Ferraris haven't had any issue with this, have they? They've been
uh,
actually pretty consistent in terms of finishing.
that is
Um,
actually untrue because Red Bull had that idea before Ferrari. Actually, they presented the
did
idea
they?
before Ferrari, before the season. Actually, Red Bull had the idea, but Ferrari was the first to bring it on track. So technically, Red Bull was the first to bring out the Macarena wing. Uh, but yeah, they had it in the works, and Ferrari brought it first. So there's just a little correction there.
Yeah, fair enough. Um, but yeah, I guess the other person to mention this Grand Prix is George. He had chaos. He had a few slow laps, but then was fighting against again Hamilton and Verstappen, which looked to be a really incredible fight. The trio going against each other, but
Yeah.
then found himself sort of his car somehow got a puncture, which made him quicker because it was a slow puncture and he was losing pressure in his tires. But obviously, considering Silverstone, that just made him quicker around a lot of the corners. So he kept fighting Verstappen, and then of course he had to come in and look to have be yet another unlucky Russell race until obviously the safety car at the end,
Yeah,
where everyone else comes in, he doesn't, and suddenly he's in P2.
George's weekend is like a tale of two very polar opposites. Like he has had the straight line issues. Like his car just wasn't quick in the straight line for no specific reason. It wasn't. I don't think it was specified the entire weekend why he was losing so much time on the straights compared to other Mercedes cars. But the gap made sense. He was quicker than Antonelli in the corners, but slower in the straights by quite a bit. So yeah, the gap was excusable in qualifying. But in the race, it was apparently fixed. and George still didn't seem to have the pace of Antonelli without the issue. And I mean, he was on pace to finish at the podium. He probably would have come out on top from the Lewis Max scrap. But yeah, still would
I
have,
think so.
like without external factors, he wouldn't been in P3 to Antonelli's P1. He wouldn't been 10 points lost in the championship. But
yeah, definitely. He's got lucky, right? He looked to have the most unlucky weekend. Suddenly, within 5 laps, it was the luckiest weekend. And yeah, I think a lot for me. George Russell needs to be quicker. That's what I'll say. He still isn't there, and he can't rely on these luck-based stuff happening all the time.
Yeah, it's this like typical George weekend from the past. Like does nothing P2 or does nothing P3, right? But this time, it's actually his teammate is not far behind him. It is in front of him, and George really needs to pick up the pace because like he's been getting quite lucky over the last few weekends, gaining all the points on Antonelli through like mostly sheer luck, and yeah, if this continues, there's 25 points between them, right? He needs to at least be quicker than Antonelli and finish ahead of him in like 65% of the remaining races and sprints.
Yeah.
To win the championship. It's not an easy task to do, but he should be able to do it if he gels with the car. Because
one thing I'll say is he really needs to make sure that he's ahead of, because currently he just keeps falling behind, say, Leclerc in this race or Hamilton in the last race. He's not getting the wins when Antonelli has these terrible incidents, and yeah, that's going to affect him.
Yeah, I mean Ferrari, I think are legitimately in that fight. You could argue that they aren't as quick as Mercedes in qualifying. There's like 1 to 2 times gap, but in the races, they're not that far behind, and they can fight. Like we saw in Spain, we saw in Silverstone, like Ferrari are winning on pace. With obviously some luck involved, like Antonelli DNF'd in both races. Sorry, no, that wasn't the DNF in Silverstone, but you get what I mean. He got technical issues in both races. Ferrari won, but still Ferrari won those races on pace, and they're legitimately in that fight with the Mercedes. So George is in a much tougher situation now because he's not only finding his teammate to gain points over him, but the Ferraris are between him and Antonelli. He has a much tougher job to do to gain those points over Kimi. Because if he's starting P2 behind Kimi, he can try to overtake him and outrace him. But whenever there are Ferraris in there, he's fighting his teammate and another team as well. So it's a more difficult situation. I mean, consider also McLarens and Red Bulls, who at times are in that fight as well. If you fall behind a McLaren and a Red Bull, it's not that easy to overtake them, even with the advantage the Mercedes has. Like still, like those cars are pretty quick, and if he has another like kind of these bad starts that he's getting and bad qualifying results, it's not gonna be easy for him to remain in a championship fight going forward.
Yeah, I agree.
That was a damn long monologue. Sorry.
No. You're right. And I feel the same. As someone that wants, has the British bias and wants him to win this championship. I feel the same. But shall we jump into the points?
Yes. We had Leclerc P1, George Russell P2. That's a point. Lewis Hamilton P3. There's also a point. P4 was Lando Norris, right? in the end because it was a DNF. So that's the third point, and P5.
Yeah, trust me. When Leclerc was in first place and there was 3 British drivers behind him, I was begging. I was yet again begging for retirement.
Wait, was P5 Piastri or Hachar? I don't remember now.
Let me go look. I think it was Piastri. It was Hadjar. Piastri. Oh yeah, Piastri had the issues at the start of the race, didn't
Oh
he?
yeah, Piastri was P11. Sorry, it wasn't.
Yeah, he was miles behind.
It wasn't near P5. Yeah, so 3 points from the race. It's a pretty nice bunch of points. Yeah, we'll obviously mention other topics from the Grand Prix as we'll go for the rest of the predictions. Driver of the weekend.
Driver of the weekend.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
a difficult one, isn't it?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I'm gonna put out there that I. Oh yeah, there was. I'm gonna go Colapinto, which you may be shocked at, but he, as we talked about, had a terrible qualifying, ended up ahead of his teammate, and got some good little minor points for Alpine. But the fact that he was, I mean, he was just behind Antonelli anyway. But yeah, for me, the fact that he started 18th and then finished 9th, very good achievement for Colapinto. It's a wild one out there, but I took note of that at the end of the race.
I mean, yeah, it's still points. Granted, there are 3 top team cars that didn't finish. Well, didn't finish in the points. Which definitely helped. I was thinking of like what other drivers like could be contention. Like Antonelli probably is a shout. Still won the sprint and got pole and could have won the race without the issue. Obviously, he had the Racing Bulls cars, which maximized the weekend again. Lawson ahead of Lindblad, so in this case, no, this Lindblad isn't the peg in there. And yeah, I mean, both Ferraris only had one good week, good race and qualifying. Yeah, probably would give this to Antonelli, but I felt it was a shout. Either way, don't get points, right? This is the most important thing. Garage of the weekend, not the Williams and not Audi. I mean, Audi scored points for the second time this season, but I don't think that's worth anything because the other car DNF'd thanks to technical issue. So, yeah.
Yes, yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Just not a good weekend for Alex Albon, who it's his own fault. He obviously crashed into the back of Berman, which sort of ruined my British hopes this weekend for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Garage of the weekend, I would give this to Ferrari because they got sprint pole and the race win, and they're originally in the fight with Mercedes while being expected to struggle on the track like this, a power sensitive track, and yeah, Ferrari has done well. I think they deserve the Garage of the weekend.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Okay, Blender of the weekend for a driver.
It's a difficult one. I'm going to go for Oscar. Again, it's not really his fault. Although we never saw the incident between him and Hajjar, so maybe it was his fault.
I didn't see it either. I tried to look it up, but I haven't found it. What essentially happened was he was going 3 wide into a corner with Racing Bull's car on each on each side, and they went 3 wide into a corner. And sometimes these things happen. Then I think it was a racing incident that he just lost his front wing in an incident with the other cars. It wasn't entirely his fault. It's very unlucky. But he generally didn't show any pace this weekend, like any significant pace. Yeah, Piastri probably would be one of the picks.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna go for Piastri, personally.
I think the other drivers, not really much to choose from. I mean, you could argue Hulkenberg, who was slower than Bortoleto on one of his best tracks, and yeah, had a spin at the start as well. Either way, we don't get points from the blunder. So that's yeah. Ferrari. Both Ferrari drivers aren't there from our mix, and both of them have achieved something this weekend.
Yeah, terrible picks. Ferrari of the weekend.
Mercedes.
I am going to go for. I have no idea.
Yeah, Mercedes. This is definitely Mercedes for me.
Oh yeah, Mercedes. Yeah, Mercedes. Yeah, you're right.
Like,
fair enough.
Technical issues on both cars. That speaks for itself. Like both drivers didn't have a clean weekend, thanks to reliability and technical stuff. As to Mercedes, they were meant to dominate this weekend and wasn't even close.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay. Fastest lap was.
I believe it was Antonelli.
Yep, I think this was Antonelli.
Yep, it was.
Yes, he DNF'd, still got the fastest lap. And got me a point as well. He was actually by 4/10 of a second ahead of Max of all the drivers. And Jar had the third fastest lap. It's kind of crazy. Sainz had a fastest lap of the race than Leclerc and Piastri. That's okay. Actually, that's another point for this. That is over with. Demolition Award.
Demolition Award. I think it has to go to Albon, right?
What happened to Albon?
The crash with Lindblad. I don't think anyone else had any made. Or Max. Or Max.
Oh yeah, Max. I mean, that wasn't his fault, right?
Yeah, it's not his fault. Yeah, it was Albon's fault, the demolition. So I'd give it Albon.
Yeah, Alex Albon takes this. Can move over to the family board prediction. The car to have all four wheels off the ground.
Sadly, no crash was with this happened. Although Max probably came close.
I mean, we would have to have this like some actual proof because I don't think it has happened during the weekend. But yeah, it could have maybe happened, like someone going over the curve for a millisecond being above the ground. But it's very difficult to check that, like fact check that. Norris GP win. No. Actual prediction, your side. Williams double points. Really? And Audi double points, only one Audi actually finished the race because the other car doesn't seem to want to finish the race most of the time. Actual predictions, Stroll points, no, and Perez P10, no. So no points from the rest of the prediction. British Grand Prix and a non-Brit outscores the Brit 4-0. GG.
GG. Yeah, terrible weekend for me. I just caught up and you're away again.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I thought I was having the worst prediction than you, but turned out to be the opposite. I mean, most of my predictions are from the race, and the race results are completely luck-based because there are all those like issues with Anthony and Max, right? And the pit stop in the end from Hamilton as well. Like those are 2 points completely random from a random Ferrari pit stop. Yeah. By the way, I don't understand why they pit Lewis. Like, I understand that probably thought there was gonna be a restart, but are you gonna race the track position? Then there's potentially no safety car restart. I mean, there was supposed to be a restart, but they canceled it for some reason. I don't know
Yeah.
whether that was
Apparently,
explained.
it wasn't actually safe. Apparently, that graphic shouldn't have been put up.
Oh,
They shouldn't have cancelled it at all.
oh yeah, so it was an error in the race direction.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, very unfortunate one because it would be fun to see the battle for the win. A battle for generally all positions, or like a one lap sprint on everyone on softs except Mercedes. It would be quite fun. Uh, yeah, I could see a fight between the Ferraris in the last lap. Like Lewis would definitely try to win that race, I'm sure.
Yeah, it would have been crazy, but he kind of had to get 2 laps because Russell was in the way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. So that's the predictions done, and we can move over to the driver ratings. Last time out, you gave me your ratings, so this time out, you are actually I should be in first because I put yours first in, and then I put mine. So yeah, I'm gonna begin. Perez and Bottas. Both of them very invisible. I believe Bottas outqualified Perez actually. Just happened that often. But yeah, both of them are very invisible. I'm gonna give Perez a 3 and Bottas a 4. They haven't done much. I haven't seen them doing much.
Yeah, I'm almost the same. I'm going to give them both a 4. Bottas out qualified Perez for the first time, but or one of the first times it feels like. But Perez, managed to beat him.
Yeah, and, probably Perez 4 then. Aston's, yeah. I'm not really sure where they finished, but Stroll qualified Alonso.
Yes, yeah, he did.
When I look at the race pace, it looked like Stroll was quicker as well. Those cars were undrivable themselves, but I feel like Stroll could be given a higher rating than Fernando after a while. 4, 5, and a 4.
I was going to do the same, but mine is going to be a 4 and a 3.
Yeah. Let me see the race results. Actually, wait, this is not the race result. Actually, Fernando beats Stroll in the race.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give them both a
Yeah,
4. It's difficult to say. Actually, yeah, all of them are getting a 5. Bang average. I have no baseline to rank them on, like at all. They get all a 5 because both of them out qualified and out race each other. It's just that, yeah, they're getting all getting a 5. Yeah, no baseline to rate them on. Williams, on the other hand, yeah, Sainz getting better than Alex. Yeah. I mean, Alex.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Alex had another one of those races where he got pitted like 5 times. So,
yeah. He was never coming back.
Yeah, it was more of a testing session, but in qualifying as well, it was Sainz who was the quicker driver, right? Did I remember correct that?
Yeah. Sainz had that. You know how they gave him a lap penalty. That's the biggest thing from Sainz this weekend. They made a new penalty for him.
New penalty? Wait. I'm trying to load at the qualifying results, but it keeps getting me back to sprint grid.
No, Sainz got a 1 lap penalty.
1 lap penalty.
Yeah, at the end of the race because he overtook the safety car when he shouldn't have.
Okay, I haven't heard about that. I haven't seen that. So
yeah, it was nuts. It's the first time they've ever gave that penalty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't seen that. We haven't seen that at all. But yeah, Sainz has been the better driver than Alex. But well, they couldn't have too much problem. Okay, actually, Alex a 3.
I'm giving Alex a 2 and Sainz a 4.
Fair enough. Okay, Racing Bulls cars, both very good this weekend. I give them
Yeah, very, very good.
Lawson ahead of Lindblad again, so 8 and 7.
They came sixth, seventh. I'm gonna give uh Lawson a 9 and
Actually, Lindblad
Limbad
out
a 7.
qualified.
Wait, 8. 8, 8,
Lindblad
8.
out qualified Lawson.
He did. And he was going to beat him, but then he's talked about this excessively in interviews afterwards. There was an issue with his power unit
Okay, then I'm gonna give
on lap one.
both of them an 8.
Oh, fair
Actually,
enough. I'm still going to give it Lawson because it was lap one. So you know,
yeah. Okay, Colapinto and
and
Gasly. Yeah, they finished close
well,
to each other, right?
yes, they came ninth, 8th and 9th.
They're getting an 8 as well, I guess, or maybe a 7. It's more fitting.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm gonna give Colapinto an 8 because again, I thought he had a really good weekend. Actually, give Lawson a 9. I'd surely have to give him a 9. No, 7 to Gasly.
Gasly outqualified Colapinto by a second.
Yeah, that's you know what, that is fair. That is fair. I give them, but I really like Colapinto's race this
And
weekend.
Gasly beat Colapinto in both the sprint quali and the sprint race.
Hey, I'm staying where I am. I'm not changing.
I mean, the
One
Grand Prix
got
is the
more-
most important,
one more-
right? After all.
One more got more points than the other. That's all that matters.
Okay. Hulkenberg, a 4. Bortoleto gets an 8. Bortoleto had a very good race. Yeah.
Bortoletto for me, he's gonna get a 9 because he got so many points, and then it's not really Hulkenberg's fault, but 4.
Okay. Hasses. Baron again better than Ocon. It's a 7 and 4.
Oh gosh, I don't know. Yeah, Behrman. I mean, they finished close to each other in each session, but Behrman was just so obviously better.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I'm gonna go 7 and 5. I think.
Yeah, probably gonna get 5 and to it as well. Isaac, Hajar, and Max Verstappen. Okay, Max is getting an 8 and Hajar 7.
Okay, yeah. I think I'm gonna give them both a. I think I'm gonna give them both a. No, you're right. I'm gonna do that.
Okay, McLaren's Liners gets a 9, and Oscar Piastri. A lot of us out of his control in qualifying. He was as quick as Norris, but in the races, gets a 6. Wasn't the greatest weekend. Maybe generous considering where he finished, but he was like so far behind everyone.
He was.
Like he went the entire lap with the broken front wing completely off. Like he lost like a minute to everyone, including his teammate, and finishing P11. Like it doesn't sound nice. Like doesn't sound like a good performance, but he was like so far behind everyone that actually is fairly decent, and in the end almost got a point, despite the race being completely ruined at the start. But yeah, Norris was much better this weekend.
Yeah.
So, like, it's still a difference of 3 rating. Like it's bigger than Sainz and Albon.
I'll do the same. I'm going to put Piastri as a 4, which I think is a bit nice, and I'm going to put Norris as a 3. Nothing that Norris did this weekend really like.
Sprint.
Obviously, he came third in the quali and the sprint quali, but nothing was like I wasn't blown away by him.
When the sprint was amazing, and the race, I mean, he didn't do much because his car wasn't quick. I think I think McLaren was the fourth quickest team this weekend. So
Yeah,
him
but you got to
finishing
remember.
P4 is the most he could have done. He finished P3 in the sprint, man, and P4 in the race. I think Lando
No,
did nearly the most he could have.
you got to remember our scores also influence the teams, right? I can't just when we get down to this and round them up at the end of the season. It'll also be the team score. So I don't feel like whilst Norris in seventh might have been, I guess, the best he could do. I also just don't
I mean,
believe that. I think he could
we
have
are
done
rating
better.
drivers. I mean, the combined is like a driver pairing rating, not the team rating. And that
Oh,
needs
is
to
it?
be
Okay, fair enough.
clarified. It's,
All this season, all these last 2 seasons, I've been doing it
like I'm trying to
the other
rate the
way.
drivers based on their own performance rather than the team performance, and it's very difficult to do it obviously objectively for every driver. Like there are Cadillacs and Astons, and we have no idea what they did during the weekend apart from going off the track. Like it's so difficult to rate these drivers, but the rest, like they're on the eyes that we know what happened with the four teams, and they're much easier to rank because of the performance.
I'm still happy with how I ranked them. I can't lie. I look at like Norris and Spain. When again, you could argue, it was probably the third quickest there, but he just keeping up with the Mercedes the whole time, and that's the type of performance that I would put as a 9. I think it's just an average weekend for him.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, the British bias not found anywhere near you right there.
Well, I think the British bias works both ways, right? I think I also get more annoyed when the British people aren't doing as well.
Yeah, but Lando has an amazing weekend and you're giving it a 7.
It was
something I
not an
understand.
amazing weekend to me.
It was an amazing weekend for the car it's been given.
No, I can't. He took so long to overtake Hadjar.
I mean, Hadjar was in a quicker car after all, and it was quick this weekend. Has to be said. Hadjar was quick this weekend.
I'm staying with mine. You can't.
Okay, you're free to have your own ratings, right? That's why we do this.
Hey, what do you mean? I literally have my own rating.
Yep.
You're the one that's saying I don't.
I mean, go for it. It's your rating. It's your opinion. I'm not gonna take it away. Okay, Ferrari. I think both of them deserve an 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for an 8 for Hamilton. That is, he got a penalty. He should have probably got a second penalty. It got a bit lucky. That it was his first time that he accidentally ignored. Oh, I've clicked something wrong there. Accidentally ignored a yellow flag. Otherwise, he would have got another penalty and would have finished outside the points. And then I'm giving Leclerc a 10. Obviously, sprint race, be damned. I was really impressed how he led the race. He would have got overtaken, don't get me wrong. No doubt in my mind he would have got overtaken. But yeah, I thought he was sensational in that race.
Okay, actually thinking race is more important than the sprint. I'm gonna give Leclerc an 8.5, just so I can put a decimal there.
Ah!
Yeah, just to kind of remind you that I'm doing this, and yeah, I mean both Ferraris have had good weekends, right? Like both of them showed great speed, and Leclerc more in the race, Lewis more in the sprint. It averages out kind of in this way, I think. Yeah. Okay, Mercedes. Antonelli. Can't really say he did much wrong, right? I think he deserves a 9.
Yeah.
And Russell very unlucky with the reliability issues for the majority of the weekend. In the race, he didn't show that much speed. I mean, he was much quicker than he was in the sprint, but still wasn't at the level of Antonelli and Leclerc in the end. Would have finished P3 if it wasn't for for the luck that he's been given. He was, you could say he was gifted a P2 in that sense, because it was it wouldn't have finished anywhere near a P2 if it wasn't for the shenanigans in the end. I'm very lucky that Ferrari pitted Lewis, so difficult to rate him, but I'm gonna give him a 6. Same as Piastri. Like it was an unlucky weekend on many parts, but he was slower than his teammate.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm going to give him a 7. And then, honestly, if Antonelli just retired, I'd probably give him a 10. But I do love the hunt in him to get those points. I don't know. I still feel like he lost aura doing it, though.
So now one last question.
Yeah.
I don't want you to change your ratings, right? Like, I respect your opinion, like I said,
Yeah.
but I want an explanation of how does Russell and Norris have the same rating when you compare their weekends.
Yeah, Russell got more points.
Okay.
Yeah, more points in the team that you gave Ferrari of the weekend.
Okay.
I think that's fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Good. Ratings over, and I need to go soon, so we'll can close this up. That was a long video, and a warranted one, because this entire weekend was phenomenal. It was very good, and talking points, and I enjoyed it. So yeah, next British Grand Prix in a year's time. We'll see you next time, and yeah, peace. And yours?